Good morning, students. This is Anjana Puri, social science teacher of class 10th from Bright Scholar Senior Secondary School, Sonipat. Welcome to Digital Learning. Today, we are starting with civics chapter power sharing. With this chapter, we will continue our journey of democracy which we started in class 9. Last year, we noted that in democracy, all power does not rest with any one organ of the state. Now, in this chapter, we will discuss why is it so important to share political power among different sections of the society. Here, we will understand this with the help of case studies of two countries, that is Belgium and Sri Lanka. Let me tell you that both of these countries are diverse nations in a way that they have people speaking not just one language but more than two or three. So, what we will study here? Power sharing. And in this power sharing, first of all, we will study case studies of Belgium and Sri Lanka. This is one thing that we are going to study. Now, second thing what we will study here is why power sharing is desirable. Means why do we need to share the power? And the third thing that we will study is different forms of power sharing. Is it clear, students? Different forms of power sharing. These are the three things that we will study in chapter 1 of power sharing. Now, first of all, let me case study of Belgium. So, case study of Belgium. Number one, if I talk about geographical location. It is a small country where in Europe and share its borders with four countries, that is France, Netherlands, Germany and Luxembourg. Fine. Then second, if I come to population, it is very small country and the population of this country is little over 1 crore, which is about half the population of Haryana. Right? Then third, if I come to ethnic composition. Now, what is this ethnic composition? It is a social division. What is this? A social division that is based on shared culture. Now let us understand the ethnic composition. What was this in Belgium? Ethnic composition of Belgium. First of all, there were Dutch speaking people and about 59% of the population was speaking Dutch language. They were living in Flemish region. Then second one, French speaking people. Do you know about 40% of the population was speaking French, and they were living in Wallonia region. And then third one were German speaking. They were just about 1%. And the fourth, if we talk about capital city of Belgium, that is Brussels. Here the condition was just opposite of that of rest of the country. In rest of the country you can see Dutch speaking were in majority, but if we talk about capital, then French speaking were in majority, and they were about 80% of the total population. And Dutch speaking, they were in minority, just 20% of the total population. Now you may pause your video and note down this. After this we will talk what were the reasons of tension in Belgium. Is it done? Okay. Then now, what were the reasons of tensions between two communities? First of all, minority French speaking. They were rich and powerful. On the other hand, Dutch speaking people, which were in majority, got the benefit of the economic development and education, but much later on. And so they were unhappy. During 1950s and 60s, this led to great tension between the Dutch speaking and the French speaking communities. And what was the problem in Brussels? That was just opposite of this, because Dutch speaking were in majority in the country and minority in the capital. Now we will learn how this problem was accommodated by Belgium government. Here you can see that Belgium leaders recognized the existence of regional and the cultural diversities, and between the year 1970 and 1993, that is 23 years, they amended their constitution 4 times. How many times? 4 times. Now the arrangement that they adopted was very much innovative and different from any other country. You might be wondering what was that new Belgium model. So here are the main points. First of all, equal representation to both Dutch and French people were given in central government. That means the number of Dutch and French speaking ministers was kept equal in the central government. Then second, the power was shared with the state government. Means now the state government was not subordinate to the central government. Third one, it had a separate government in which the members from different communities were taken, and a separate community government was also formed. So this was how they started accommodating and keeping each and every member of the society happy. This was really very wise decision from Belgium government that was adopted. Now you can pause the video and note down this point. After this we will come to the next case study, that is case study of Sri Lanka. Okay, is it done? So if we come to case study of Sri Lanka, you can see geographical location. It is a small island just few kilometers off the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. And if we talk about the region, there we find Buddhist, Hindus and Muslim Christians. Population is about 2 crores. That is about the same as we are having in Haryana. Now if we come to ethnic composition, then Sinhalas, they are 74% of the total population, whereas Tamils are just 18%. Means Sinhalas are in majority and Tamils are in minority. Tamils are again subdivided into two groups, that is Indian Tamils, they are 5%, and native Tamils, they are 13%. Native Tamils means those Tamils who are living in Sri Lanka only, whereas Indian Tamils means those who have migrated at the time of plantation colonial rule. Then they are only 7%. Here we can find that the government adopted the policy of majoritarianism. Now, what is majoritarianism? It is a belief that the majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever way it wants. Means the main ruling is done only by majority. Sri Lankan government got independence in the year 1948. The democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian measures to establish Sinhala supremacy. In the year 1956, Sinhala was declared as official language. The government also gave preference to Sinhala people in government jobs. They protected only Buddhism. So, Sri Lankan Tamils launched struggles for the recognition of Tamil. Now, distrust between two communities turned into conflict and then civil war, which resulted in killing of thousands of people of both the communities. Civil war caused a terrible setback to the social, cultural, and economic life of the people. Now, you can understand from this that here power was shared both by Belgium as well as Sri Lanka. But Belgium leaders have realized that the unity of the country is possible only by respecting the feelings and interests of different communities, whereas Sri Lanka shows us a contrasting example. It shows that if majority community wants to force its dominance over others and refuses to share the power, it can undermine the unity of the country. Now with this topic is completed. There are two more topics which are left, which we will continue in the next lecture. Now I request you all to read the chapter thoroughly and solve the given assignment in your FAIR notebook. Thank you and have a nice day.